Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I will paint the Neuro Tyrant from the Leviathan box, and I'm super happy about it because it's not just that this is like a super cool miniature full of detail. We can see a lot of things going on here and it's like it's cool. I really like this one. But this miniature is going to be the warlord of my Tyranid army. I really like it. This is going to be important for me, so it's going to be like a super special occasion. I'm super happy about it. And of course, following my usual Tyranid color scheme, the first step will be priming the miniature with Chaos Black from Citadel, like I usually do with my Tyranids. And then in the base, because of consistency reasons for my Tyranid army, I will use this technical paint, Stirland Matte. And that's going to be the first step. So let's start painting this super cool miniature. Miniature prime with Chaos Black and technical painted right, and now finally is the time to start painting the miniature. So I will do as I usually do. I will first of all paint the base of the miniature and then I will continue with the Neuro Tyrant. So for the base I choose a selection of I want all the attention to go to the Neuro Tyrant. So I have this very neutral, subtle colors, a lot of brown, a lot of gray. I don't want attention to be here. So because of that, here we can see that we have like two different kind of rocks in the base, like this bigger one, like this one for example, or this one here. For those rocks I will use first of all Eshin Gray, and then I will apply some Domestone, basically a dark gray and a lighter gray. And for these smaller rocks here around, I will use more brownish colors. I will use first of all Morphan Brown for the base of these kind of rocks, and then I will add some highlights with the Rackard Flesh. And of course for the technical paint I will add as well Rackard Flesh, but I will dry brush it because I want to have some coherency between the technical paint and the let's say the plastic base of the miniature itself. And we have this big pipe here, and for that I will use Lead Belcher. I could use maybe some more copperish tone, but no, I prefer to be not to gather too much attention. I want all attention to be into the miniature and to have like some subtle base. So let's start painting the base. The base is starting to look good, or at least in my opinion it's starting to look good. And here we have now some detail of some human face, well, human head basically. And if earlier I said that I wanted to have the base quite subtle, here I'm going to paint it quite with a very well, you can see the colors that I'm going to use for that. It's going to be quite noticeable, this human head in the base. But I can see a lot of cables coming out of the head, so I don't imagine myself painting cables in some subtle way, because cables usually they want to be very distinctive one from each other, so you can really see which one is which. So that's why I will use some more intense colors for that. So let's start with the face, okay? For the skin, I will first of all apply some Wraith Bone, and then on top of that I will use Kislev Flesh. Then I will use Agraxel Shade to enhance all the shadows in the face. I'm not good with painted faces, so I want it to be quite... I don't want the details to be so very visible, that's why I will use shadow with this. And then after applying Agraxel Shade, I will add a little bit more of Kislev Flesh to some of the highlights. And for the power armor around the head, I will kind of use like ultramarine skin. I want to use these blue colors. I will use, well, first of all, Cantor Blue, and then Aleotic Blue. These are the ones that I have, more similar to the ultramarines, I think. And it's like to, let's say, honor the victory of the Tyranids in this battle that happened at the beginning of the edition. So I will do it like ultramarine because of that. And for the cables, I'm going to use mostly reds and yellows. For the base of the reds and yellow, I will use Everland Sunset and Corn Red. And if I want to apply some highlights, I will use Evil Yellow and Evil Sun Scarlet. And with that being said, let's continue. Not bad, not perfect, but it's okay. It will work. I'm not very skilled painting faces. I mean human faces. So what I do usually is like try to apply shadows so you can see that it's like a human face, but I kind of try to omit the details as much as possible so I don't have like to suffer with them. So I'm happy with this for now. Maybe later I will try to do something more, but for now I'm quite happy with it. And now it's the time to paint all this Tyranid thing in the base. And for that I will use the usual colors for my Tyranid scheme. I will show it better in the miniature, but basically like a quick talk for these picky parts I will use the blues. And for that I will use first of all Cantor Blue, then I will apply some Null Oil that it's hiding here, no. Then I will give some highlight with aliotic blue, and then I will use some hot blue for even more highlights. And for the rest of the tyrannic thing, this more skinny, more softy one, I will use first of all Demonate Height, and then I will apply some Druchii Violet, and then after that I will apply some highlight with Slaanesh Grey, and that's going to be the base of the miniature. But as I said, I will show that properly in the Neuro Tyrant itself, but for the base I wanted to be a little bit quicker, so let's do it. The base of my Neuro Tyrant is almost finished right now. I still need to add some grass to the base, but I don't want to add it yet because of course I'm going to paint the Neuro Tyrant now, so I don't want to ruin it while I touch the base while painting the miniature. And I'm going to add also Nuln Oil to the pipe, but that's something that I will do later. I'm not going to forget about that, I will do it later. And now let's focus Neuro Tyrant. And I will use for sure the two colors that I use the most in my Tyranids for all the skin parts, the tail, all these tentacles, maybe this kind of thing here in the brain, I'm not sure, but let's say that all the soft skin parts I'm going to use Demonate Height, and for all the hardened parts I'm going to use Cantor Blue, like for example these shell things, and well, basically the ones that I want to look harder. And I'm trying to do the brain, something like I did with the Norm Emissary. I will leave the link in the description, of course. And first of all, before starting playing with the brain and such, I'm going to apply a base of Corax White to it. So later it will be easier for me to get a lighter color. So let's start with this Neuro Tyrant. This is starting to look like one of my Tyranids, so we are in the right direction right now. And as usual, it was quite nice to paint, I have to say. But of course, I'm always not the smartest person, and painting in the inside was such a nightmare. But anyway, I managed to do it very carefully. So the miniature is looking nice. It's fully painted right now with the base colors, and now I will apply, first of all, some shades and then some contrast. For the shades, as usual, for all the blue parts of the miniature, I'm going to use Null Oil, because I'm going to enhance all the differences between the plates in this, like, let's say, I don't know how to call it. But I want to enhance all the shapes that we can see here and make it a little bit darker. I don't like this blue too much. I want to have like a darker blue, so that will be perfect. And for all the violets and the skin parts, I'm going to use Druchii Violet. And then, after that, when everything dries nicely, I will apply some contrast, Doomfire Magenta, to the brain parts. The brains in the outside, the brains in the back, and the brains in the inside. That is going to be quite tricky, but hopefully I will manage to do it. So let's continue, it's going to be fun. After applying the shade and the contrast paint, I really like how the colors look like now. This is much closer to what I really like about my Tyranid. So now it's going to be the time to add some highlights to the miniature. And for that, first of all, for the skin violet parts, I will use Slanesh Grey. This one suits very nicely and I really like how it looks. And for the more hardened parts, let's say the previously blue ones, I will use, first of all, Aliotic Blue. And I will use this one like a classic highlight, highlighting all the shapes of the body. And then I will use Hot Blue, and I will use this one to do this classic stripes that the Tyranid have in this hardened parts, so let's do it. This is starting to look good. I'm happy with the result, and I like how the highlights look in the miniature. It looks nicer, the shapes are more noticeable, and it looks much better than at the beginning. And for the next step, before going into the brain, I will try to finish the claws and the teeth. So for the teeth, I will go directly with Corax White. And for the claws, I will add some highlight with the Dawnstone. It's a light gray, so like this, they will look like they are not painted. They will have some color to it, so it will look nicer. So let's continue. Now that our Neuro Tyrant has some nice teeth and some nice claws, it's the time to finish the brain. So for that, I'm going to do something similar that I did with the Norm Emissary, of course, link in the description. And I will apply some Corax White to enhance all these brain shapes. So let's continue. And now the final step is going to be to add a little bit of Druchii Violet to the brain, because as you can see, it's maybe a little bit too white, and I want like a nicer transition between the colors. So like adding a little bit of this violet, it should look nicer. So I will apply it, and after that our Neuro Tyrant will be almost finished. I will just apply a little bit of grass to the base as usual, and it should be finished. Of course, the Neuro Tyrant has these two tokens with it, but I'm not going to show how I paint them, because basically I'm going to do exactly the same color scheme that I did for the Neuro Tyrant, so there is no need to show how I painted these little guys. So for sure at some point I will share a picture of all of them together, but as I said, there's no need to paint them. And this is it. This is the final result. This is my Neuro Tyrant, the miniature that it's meant to be the warlord of my Tyranids in battle. It's a super cool looking miniature. I really like how it looks, and I'm super happy with the results. I like how my color scheme is looking right now, so I'm quite happy with it. And that's it. This is how my Neuro Tyrant looks. And as usual, if you're still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.